Hello guys and welcome back to another video made by me, Rocket Boy. Today we're going to be doing chapter 3 of the Legacy series. The Legacy series is written by Red Alpha 718. You can see in this corner. Alright, let's start. Chapter 3, Awakening. Disclaimer, I do not know Naruto or its characters. Chapter 3, Beginning of a Legend. In every shinobi village, there is a reminder of their previous leaders and heroes to honor their memory and sacrifice they did to protect and defend their homes. In Konoha, there is a certain mountain that shows exactly that. The mountain was actually called the Hokage. The Hokage is the leader of the Leaf Village Mountain, Hokage Mountain. And in it were carved the previous and current Hokages of the Leaf. And there it stood, the faces of the legendary shinobi. Senju Hashirama, Shotomain Hokage, the leader of the Senju clan, one of the founders of the Leaf Village, and the first user of the Mokutan element. Mokutan is the wood element. He was a caring and kind person, dedicated to serve his village. However, he ended up dying during the First Shinobi War. His fight against Madara Uchiha has taken its toll and left him permanently weakened. He was at the time of his death a shell of his former self, but even now, 80 years after his death, he is still remembered by everyone in the village. The second phase belonged to Senju Tobirama, the Ninamain Hokage. It's the second Hokage. He was Hashirama's younger brother and became Hokage after his brother's death. He too was a very strong shinobi. In fact, each of the Hokage was hailed as the strongest shinobi of their time. Tobirama was known for his extremely high water affinity that allowed him to use high-ranked moves in places without water by condensing the air around him. He too lost his life fighting in the Second Shinobi War, but before his death, he appointed Hiruzen Sarutobi, one of his students, as the Senamain Hokage, as the third Hokage. The third face on the monument was Sarutobi Hiruzen, of the Sarutobi clan, known for their monkey summoning and extreme skill in taijutsu. Taijutsu is hand-to-hand combat. Hiruzen is currently around 55 years old. He's one of the most powerful shinobi in the village, but in his prime, he was hailed as the god of shinobi, mostly because of his skill in ninjutsu that allowed him to combine different elements to his attacks. Hiruzen is the current leader of the village after his successor, the Yodomain Hokage, died. In the last phase of the monument was Minato Namikaze, the Yodomain Hokage, hailed as the strongest of the Hokages. He was also the fastest shinobi to ever live in the elemental nations, not even the Raikage. The Raikage is basically the Hokage of the Lightning Nation. He was known not even the Raikages with lightning armor can compete with him in speed. He was known for his use of the Harashin no Jutsu, Flying Thunder God technique, a S-rank technique of his creation that allowed him to move at almost the speed of light. This technique was the reason why he was known as the Yellow Flash. Due to his blonde hair, the only thing that people managed to see was a yellow flash due to his speed. In the Leaf Village, he was a hero that sacrificed his life to kill the Kyuubi no Yoko that attacked the village 5 years ago. And here, 5 years later, the Kyuubi attack is where our story truly begins. With a small boy that, despite being mistreated his whole life, will rise to become the legend he was born to be. Konoha, 5 years after Kyuubi attack. It was a warm night in the village. The sun was just going down. It was starting to dim. Town lights were coming up, and we could still see many people going around the village doing their business. Unlike many other villages, even though Konoha was the most powerful village in the Elemental Nation, it didn't seem militaristic or cold. Many people, if they saw Konoha, would say that it wasn't a shinobi village. However, the mountain that surrounded the north part of the village was a dead giveaway. In it were carved the faces of the most powerful shinobi to ever live. It was October 10th. The village was covered in decorations and celebrating defeat to the Kyuubi that attacked 5 years ago. Everyone in the village was happy. It was the times of peace. The wars were long forgotten, but not the hate and pain that were lost. However, although everyone seemed happy, one particular kid was very sad and lonely. Uzumaki Naruto was an orphan of the Kyuubi attack. He was about 120 centimeters long, or 3 feet and 11 inches. He had spiky blonde hair, the bluest eyes anyone had ever had, and each cheek he had 3 whisker marks, a birthmark. He was wearing a white shirt with short sleeves with an orange swirl in his back. Despite being what appeared to be a normal child, Naruto was hated and despised by most of the village. He was a painful reminder of the Kyuubi attack. He was expelled from the orphanage at the age of 4 and lived in the streets for about a month until the Hokage's Anbu found him and took him to a Sandomane. Anbu are basically ninja special forces. They are either the Hokage's bodyguards or regular special forces that do highly dangerous missions. Sandomane eventually became a grandfather figure to him. He gave Naruto a small apartment and allowance to live, but Naruto was constantly pursued by the villagers and constantly abused and beaten. The doors kicked them out or sold them rotten merchandise, or even charged twice the price. Even in the orphanage, he received the same treatment. Growing up in this kind of life forced Naruto to mature quickly if he wanted to survive. Because of his treatment, Naruto became a highly intelligent kid that can rival Onara. Onara is a special clan in the Leaf Village, with every single member having an extremely high IQ. He became cold and calculative to everyone except his closest people that in his case were simply the Hokage himself and the owners of a ramen stand. Only 3 people cared for Naruto and wondered if he was eating or sleeping well. During his birthdays, things were even worse because the villagers and a few shinobi would gather up and hunt him down like an animal. And here is where we are. A scared kid was running through the streets of Konoha, trying his best to avoid the villagers in hot pursuit. The villagers were shouting, "Die, demon! Get him! Finish what the Yudamane started!" Naruto wondered what he ever do to deserve such treatment and harsh life. "Stop, please! What did I do to any of you?" Naruto running as fast as he could, his legs starting to give away. "Oh, please! You know very well what you did. You killed my brother and my father," shouted one of the villagers as he threw an empty bottle. "We will finish what the 4th Hokage started and kill the demon," the villager said as the others supported him. Naruto kept running until he looked behind to his pursuers and noticed a group of them that appeared to be Chunin. Chunin are a medium-level shinobi. Even though Naruto was a stamina freak, a 5-year-old can't compete with the speed of the Chunin. The Chunin quickly closed the distance between him and Naruto and took out a kunai and did a horizontal slash. Naruto, seeing the kunai that would most likely kill him, he ducked. As he was stalking, he noticed that time appeared to be slowing down. After dodging the slash, he unwittingly channeled chakra to his legs, trying to jump over a fence to get away. The rest of his shinobi, seeing this, were actually surprised, but they couldn't let the demon get away. So all of them threw a couple of kunai at him while saying, "Kunai Kage Shuriken no Jutsu!" The kunai multiplied to 15 and were going fast at Naruto. Naruto, knowing he couldn't dodge them all in mid-air, started observing them and calculating the best way to avoid them. It was then it happened. His vision suddenly became clearer, and the incoming kunai seemed to almost stop. Just by looking at them, he could see where they would land. Reacting to his instincts, Naruto quickly caught one kunai with his hand and started deflecting all of them except one that managed to pass his defenses and hit his shoulder. He cried out in pain but managed to get over the fence and to safety. He pulled the kunai off of his shoulder and noticed that the wound was already closing. "I wonder why I am the only person to heal this fast," he asked himself, while walking through the village hidden in the shadows to avoid the villagers. But he quickly noticed that his vision was different. It was black and white, and he could see people with a blue flame inside of them that surrounded their bodies. He tried to push his eyes to see better and suddenly passed out in the alleyway. The stress and exhaustion of running and taking a kunai to his shoulder was too much. Naruto's mindscape. Naruto woke up in what seemed to be a sewer. There were there were pipes in every wall, and the floor was filled with water about 20 centimeters in height, 8 inches. He wandered through the endless corridors, wondering where he was. Sorry about that. He wandered through the endless corridors, wondering where he was, when he heard a soft male voice calling at him. "Follow my voice," the strange voice said. Naruto didn't know him, but was drawn to his voice. After walking for a couple of minutes, Naruto found himself staring at a big iron door with vertical bars. In the middle of the door, it was a small paper with the kanji for seal. Kanji is basically a Japanese or Chinese character written on a piece of paper. He looked inside the cage, but it seemed empty. "Hello there, Naruto," said the voice. Naruto jumped back surprised and noticed a man leaning in the sewer wall outside the cage. Naruto observed the man carefully. The man was about 190 centimeters in height, 6 feet 2. He had spiky blonde hair with 2 bangs that framed his face and had blue eyes. He was wearing a full-body blue suit and the standard Jonin. Jonins are high-level shinobi, flat jacket. He was also wearing a white cape with red flames and had the kanji for the Yuremine Hokage. Yuremine Hokage? Asked Naruto. He knew very well what happened 5 years ago, and he knew that the Yuremine died to kill the Kyuubi. He was a hero. "My name is Minato Namikaze, and I am the Yuremine Hokage," he said, looking at the kid in front of him, and wondered how it happened so soon. Naruto seemed 5 at the most. "How? You're supposed to be dead. Am I dead too?" Naruto asked. "No, you're not dead, but unfortunately I am," Minato replied with gloomy face. "But if you are dead, then where am I? And how do you know my name?" Naruto wondered what the hell was going on. "Naruto, I am gonna explain everything to you. Listen closely, okay?" he asked, to which Naruto nodded. "We are inside of your mind. This is your mindscape. It's basically a representation of your mind in its physical form. Understand?" Naruto nodded. Now the truth is that I am your father. Naruto furrows when he heard that. No, it can't be. Naruto calls the third Hokage Gigi. Gigi told me that he didn't know who my parents were, Naruto thought. You're, you're, you're my father? How? Naruto asked. Well, about the how, you will find out when you are older, Minato said, chuckling. But it is true, I am your father, and I am sorry I wasn't here with you, but I had to stop the Kyuubi. But listen, I don't have much time. You probably wonder why this village treats you like a monster. To which Naruto slowly nodded. Well, there isn't any easy way to say this, but 5 years ago, when you were born, the Kyuubi attacked the village. Sanemain said that I killed the Kyuubi, but that isn't possible. The Kyuubi is a massive chakra without an actually physical body, so it can't die. The only way I had to stop the Kyuubi was to seal it down in a newborn baby. I'm sorry to say that I had to seal it in you, he said with a bit of shame, wondering how Naruto would react. What? What do you mean by seal? Am I the Kyuubi? He asked, now realizing what all the names the villagers called him by. No! You're neither a monster or the Kyuubi. You are my son. Am I sealed? I mean that the Kyuubi is trapped in your gut behind these bars. Kyuubi, come forward, Minato explained. Suddenly, behind the bars of the empty cage, Naruto saw two glowing red eyes with red-black vertical slits. The eyes approached to the doors. He noticed the form of a fox with tail swinging wildly in the back. There it stood, behind the doors, the most powerful being in the world, the most powerful of the 9 Biju. The Biju, the Kyuubi no Yoko, the 9-tailed demon fox. Naruto, seeing this, jumped back scared to see that the monster that attacked the village was responsible for so many deaths. No fear to fear me, kid, the Kyuubi said, watching the poor kid. He knew too well what the villagers did to him. Naruto, Minato said, getting Naruto's attention. This is the Kyuubi, and he's not the demon everyone thinks he is. The attack 5 years ago was not his fault, Minato said, and started explaining what happened in the fateful night 5 years ago. From when Naruto was born, the masked man unleashing the Kyuubi and controlling it to attack the village. Then Minato sealing the Kyuubi into him. Naruto was still frozen, absorbing what had happened. Everything his father was saying. Naruto didn't know what to say. It was just too much. Naruto, I'm sorry that I had to seal the Kyuubi into you. You had a harsh life until now, but I trust with this, it would be slightly better, Minato said, and touched Naruto's stomach, effectively transferring the seal key to Naruto and opening the cage. What are you doing? Naruto asked, worried that his father has opened the cage and let the Kyuubi out. Naruto, I told you that it wasn't the Kyuubi's fault last night. The Kyuubi will help you grow up, and he'll be at your side to help you in your battles and provide advice. The only thing I ask of you is when you're close to your death, that you release the Kyuubi. He didn't deserve to be trapped in a cage to be used as the weapon, Minato said. Would you really be my friend? Naruto asked, still a bit fearful of the fox. Of course, I will take care of you and make you strong so you can protect your home and your friends. The Kyuubi replied, and what happened next surprised everyone in the mindscape. Naruto suddenly left his father's side and jumped into the paw of the Kyuubi. So soft and warm, he said, getting chuckles from both Kyuubi and Minato. Now, Naruto, there is more that I need to tell you. I don't know if you realized it, but doesn't your vision seem different? Minato asked. It's actually all black and white, and with you being blue and Kyuubi being red. Naruto replied. Naruto, do you know who Uchiha Madara is? Minato asked, getting a disgusted growl from the Kyuubi, clearly showing no love to the Uchiha leader. Yup, I know him. I know he was one of the founders of the Leaf and the leader of the Uchiha clan. That is supposed to be the strongest one in the world. Naruto said, surprising his father. Even though Naruto was 5 years old, he was very smart and did like to read, but going into the library was impossible as he was always kicked out. Exactly, but what you and anyone doesn't know is that Madara was in fact my father. I never said anything to anyone because I decided to keep it a secret, he said. Naruto's eyes widened when he discovered that the legendary Uchiha Madara was his grandfather. I am the son of the fourth Hokage, Konoha Zero Flash, and the great Uchiha Madara is my grandfather. There's no way I'm not becoming Hokage, Naruto thought. With you being my father and Naruto being my Oji-san, being my grandfather, there is no way I'm not being Hokage. Believe it! Naruto yelled, pumping his fist into the air and getting a smile from Minato. I have no doubt you will, Naruto, Minato said, ruffling Naruto's hair. Now you know that the Uchiha clan have a bloodline, more specifically, a dojutsu, right? Dojutsu is any type of jutsu that requires your eye to use it. Naruto nodded. This bloodline is called the Sharingan, and you activated the first level. Look at the floor. Naruto looked down and saw his reflection in the water. His eyes were blood red with black tomo in each eye. The Sharingan will evolve until it's fully matured, getting 3 tomos in each eye. Minato concluded he didn't want to go any further into the Mangekyou. His time was ending, and the Kyuubi could explain if he ever unlocked it. God, I hope he never has to go through that, Minato thought. Oh, I knew I was awesome, Naruto said, happy about knowing everything about his family and finding that he had a bloodline. Now, Naruto, pay attention to what I'm going to say, Minato started. I know that you always wanted a family, but you can't go to the Uchiha clan. Besides, having a Kyuubi in you, which if they find out you are the Uchiha, they will use it for their own gain. I want you to be a good person, not an arrogant, power-hungry like the Uchihas are. Never rely too much on the Sharingan. Remember, the Sharingan is only a tool. Having it doesn't make you all-powerful, okay? Minato asked, getting a nod. Okay, my time is ending. Everything I had, including my clan's techniques, weapons, are in an Kaze compound. And only you can enter, since there's a blood seal around it. Be careful so that no one finds out. I have many enemies as did Madara. If you ever wish to reveal a true heritage, I ask you to reveal when you are strong enough to protect yourself and anyone that you care about. There are people who would stop at nothing to kill you or your friends to get revenge at me, Minato said with a bit of regret. After all, during the Third Shinobi War, he was responsible for slaughtering almost all of Iowa's forces. Do you know how to use chakra to deactivate your eyes? He asks, getting a nod from Naruto. I'm fading. My chakra is almost over. Remember, Naruto, me and your mother loved you very much, and I'm sorry that you had to live this life and growing up without love, Minato said, sad on how everything turned out. He asked the Sandman so that the villagers saw Naruto as their hero, but he was too naive. Don't worry, father. I got to meet you after all. You did what you needed to protect our home, Naruto said, getting a smile from Minato as he started to fade away until he was no longer standing in front of him. Naruto woke up in an alleyway wondering if it was all a dream until he heard a voice inside his head. No, kid. It wasn't a dream. I'm here after all. You should deactivate your eyes for now and start training. I will help you in every way I can, and when you're old enough, I will train you to use my powers, the Kyuubi said. Thank you. At least I have you with me. I could use the company. Naruto replied, happy with everything that happened. Who knew that this night would turn out to be his best birthday? You don't need to speak out loud. Sorry. You don't need to speak out loud, or people will think you are crazy. Just think, and I will hear it. Also now, the cage is open, and you have gained my second ability. You are able to sense people around you, and in time, with training, you would be able to sense their feelings. You should tell the Hokage what happened. He will help you, but keep him in the dark about my help for now, the Kyuubi said, getting a nod from Naruto. As he got up, deactivated his Sharingan, and started to make his way to the Hokage Tower. 15 minutes later, at the Hokage's tower, Naruto made his way into the Hokage's office after arguing with the secretary, threatening her to tell the Hokage that she called him a demon. The reason Naruto never found out about the Kyuubi is that apparently the Hokage placed the S-rank law that prohibited anyone from telling that he had a Kyuubi in him, and anyone who broke it was subjected to immediate execution. Old man, Naruto said, earning a smile from the old Hokage, happy to see Naruto getting a break from the Hokage's number one enemy, paperwork. Naruto-kun, how are you? Do you need anything? The Hokage asked. Even though the Hokage wasn't actually related to Naruto, he has grown quite close to him in the last couple of years, treating him like a grandson. I wanted to ask you if you could tell me who my parents were. Naruto asked, messing up with the Hokage a bit before he told him what happened. I wonder how he will react. He thought. I already told you, Naruto. I'm sorry. I don't know who your parents are. All I know is that they are heroes that died fighting the Kyuubi, the Hokage replied. He couldn't tell Naruto who his parents are since he was too young. Gigi, before I tell what I came here for, can you tell your Ambu to leave? I only want to tell you this, and you alone. Naruto said, getting a surprised face from the Hokage. How do you know that there are Ambu in this room, he asked. To which Naruto replied, I can sense them above the ceiling. Naruto replied, very well. The Hokage said, and with a flick of his hand, he signaled his 4 Ambu bodyguards to leave the room. Now, Naruto, what do you want to tell me? He asked. Gigi, are you sure you sent them all away? I can still sense another person there, Naruto said, pointing behind the bookcase. Once Naruto said that, the 4 Ambu quickly returned and dashed towards the intruder, quickly immobilizing him. The intruder had normal Ambu gear, black pants, and a steel plate in the chest for protection. But his mask was completely white, with the kanji for root. Damn that Danzo, sticking his nose where he shouldn't, the Hokage thought. Naruto, you are indeed a skilled sensor. You actually caught an intruder that was in here, the Hokage said. Oh, I knew I was awesome, Naruto replied, getting a chuckle from the old Hokage. After the room was empty, except Naruto and the Hokage, Naruto approached the pictures of the previous Hokage and stopped in front of the picture of the 4th. Turning to the Hokage, he said, anything you want to tell me? The Hokage paled when Naruto asked him. How did you find out? The Hokage said, wondering how Naruto did find out. Only very few people knew that Minato was his father. Now I think about it, I could almost be his twin brother. I wonder how anyone never noticed, Naruto said, and started explaining everything that happened, leaving the Kyuubi helping him. He being Maru's grandson and him having the Sharingan. Minato was really a genius. To think even dead, he gives me a headache. The Hokage dot. Now you know. What are you gonna do? You know you can't tell anyone, the Hokage said. I am going to train to be as strong as like my father. And then I'm going to take that hat of yours. Naruto replied, getting a chuckle from the old Hokage, to which he said, I have no doubt you will. Alright guys, be sure to drop a like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. If you have any good memes, post it in the channels and post it in the comments. If it's a good meme, then it might get pinned. Also, post any other stories that you want me to read and I would consider reading it or not. Remember to like and subscribe as always. And peace out.